Okay, well, tonight is Tuesday, August the 15th, our Yuba City Council chambers with our City Council meeting for tonight. Can we get roll call, please?
Mayor Cleveland. Sorry. Vice Mayor Didball.
Here.
Councilmember Buckland.
Here.
Councilmember Cardoza.
Here.
And Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Thank you very much. And tonight we're going to have Councilmember Buckland lead us in the invocation, and following that, for the Pledge of Allegiance, we will have Josh Galen from Troop 389 lead us.
If you'll bow your heads with me as I pray. Almighty Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of those that are gathered here tonight. We're truly blessed by your presence. We also ask that you guide our nation in a time of trouble and turmoil in the right direction, and those decisions that are made by our leaders help lead a profound and clear direction for the rest of our nation and the world to follow. We also ask for your guidance and a clear vision so your efforts of staff and council will be of benefit to those who live and work in this community. It's in your most blessed name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josh. Appreciate that. So tonight it looks like we have a couple of presentations and proclamations, so we will go ahead and get started with those. Okay, so tonight, accepting on the 100th birthday celebration for Mabel Watley, we have son-in-law James and Mary Watley here. Come on up. Hi, thank you for being here. Yes. Oh, son? Yes. Oh, okay. Correction, I'm sorry, son. James and Mary Watley. So tonight we're celebrating the 100th birthday of Mabel Watley. Mabel Louise Watley was born on August 17, 1917, in the state of Missouri. Mabel married Gladys, nickname, I guess, Shorty, on July 2nd, 1949, and remained married until he passed away in 2006. They had 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and numerous great-grandchildren. She lived in the Yuba City area for the past 60 years. Mabel lived during the most eventful centuries of this nation's history and has been an inspiration to her family and friends who have known her. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Didball, Vice Mayor of City of Yuba City, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby honor and congratulate Mabel on her celebration of 100 years of life, done on the 15th day of August 2017 at the City of Yuba City, County of Sutter, State of California. Have a gift bag for her. Here you go. Thank you so much. Oh gosh, I hope I don't mess up your name. Kendlin? Kendallin. Hi. Nice to meet you. So this is our 2017 Honorary ESPY Award recipient. As an ESPY Award, Excellence in Sports Performance Yearly Award is an accolade presented by ESPN to recognize individual and team athletic achievements. Kendallin is an athlete in many different sports, such as trap team, swimming, football, black belt, and help me with that. Which one?
Special Olympian participating
How about that? Black belt.
black belt in Cook Soul 1.
Okay. He says that a lot better than I do. An Olympian participating in the 2 Summer Games, acquiring 5 gold medals and 2 silver medals. Not only an athlete, Kendallin's passion to educate the community and involvement with several leadership roles. So now, therefore, being it resolved that I, Preet Didball, Vice Mayor to the City of Yuba City, and on the behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby acknowledge and congratulate Kendallin. Last name?
Respicio.
Okay. For his ESPY Award, and we are proud of our hometown hero and can be accomplished through hard work and determination. I hereby urge all citizens of Yuba City to join me in recognizing Kendallin for his outstanding athletic, community, and leadership achievements done on this 15th day of August 2017 at the City of Yuba City, County of Sutter. Here, I could hold those for you. Want to open them? Kendallin wants to say a few words. Oh, no worries.
Oh. Sure. I would like to thank Mayor Cleveland, which is not here today.
They didn't tell you that? Oh, sorry.
Vice Mayor DeBall,
Yes.
which is right next to me. Councilman Buckman, Councilman Cardoza, and Councilman Harris for this recognition and having me here today. I would like to thank the management and employees at Gaucher Park. This is where I learned how to swim, from taking parks and recreation swim lessons to competing with Feather River Aquatic Club, FRAC, to train and compete with the Yuba City High School swim team, and lastly, to train with my Yuba City Special Olympic swim team, which got me to compete in 3 Northern California Special Olympic Summer Games at UC Davis. In 2015, I was an alternate for the U.S. Special Olympic swim team. All these practices and training at Gaucher Park is how I got this ESPY. The people I need to thank, because if it was not for them, I would not be here. TJ and Pam Feathers, Mr. and Mrs. Pad, Miss Debbie Donahue, my 2nd grade teacher, Miss Brookins, Mr. and Mrs. Graham, Miss Trisha Henry, Miss Leba, and Miss Lush, and everyone at the Family Soup, Mrs. Blair, which is in the audience today, for being so inspirational and encouraging to me. Boy Scouts and Boy Scouts of America Troop 39 and Troops and 6 and Venture Crew 200. And lastly, all the learning centers and regular education teachers at River Bend and Yuba City High School. Thank you.
take pictures with the council? Sure. We wanted a picture with all of the council up front, so.
Ask for spirit.
Kendallin, you know, my niece is starting a date soon, so if you want to put that black belt to use, you let me know.
Have these. It's okay. We got too excited.
I know, we did. There's extras if everybody showed up.
Okay. Okay, I have a list of folks, so as I call your name, please come on up. We have Corey Kirsting, Obi Leff. God, if I'm mispronouncing, please tell me. Pam Ellison, Amos Smith, Stephanie Brown, and Jim Abbott. Manager Ann from Sam's Club, Jackie Silman, and manager Jeff from Lowe's. And I think we have several from our youth commission. So this is acknowledging our Yuba City 4th of July Children's Parade and Picnic Community Partners. The first Yuba City 4th of July Children's Parade and Community Picnic was in 2002 with hundreds of children on their bikes and accompanied by their families. The parade and community picnic has grown in size and scope, and a number of these community organizations and businesses have partnered with the city to make the event very enjoyable for our community participation. From cookies to hay rides, trash bins and bottled water, volunteers to assist with the parade and picnic. The participation and commitment of the individuals and businesses mentioned above have contributed to making the Yuba City 4th of July Children's Parade and Community Picnic a very positive and family-oriented community building event for our city. Fun for the community children and an asset to the community as a profile. So now on, thereby be resolved that I, Preet Didball, Vice Mayor to City of Yuba City, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do here commend and compliment Pam Allison of Clean Right, Build Right, the Cookie Tree, Sutter Orchard Supply, Sam's Club, Recology, Lowe's, and their employees, and the Yuba Sutter Symphony for their participation and their commitment to this Yuba City 4th of July parade, Children's Parade, and Community Picnic, which results in building a stronger and better Yuba City and our entire community. Done on the 15th day of August 2017 at the City of Yuba City, County of Sutter. And we do have some thank you pins as well as certificates for everyone.
Oh, teenagers. Those little ones on the bike, they're all this color. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so we have a certificate of appreciation, 4th of July aerial assist, members of the Yuba City Sheriff's aerial squadron. So Sutter County Under Chief Jeff Pierce. We have a member Steve Whitmarsh. Member Darcy McLeod. And Commander Fred Young. I'm sorry? Oh. And we have, I guess, one more. James Middleton. Great. Uh-oh, we have a boo-boo.
I'll fix that.
You got that? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, in the appreciation of your assistance towards the city of Yuba City, Safe and Sane Fireworks Initiative 2017, the Aero Squadron Air Patrol was instrumental toward identifying hazardous areas and assisting with the ground patrol. Thank you for your participation and concerted effort towards improving the quality of life in Yuba City. We very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. Right here. We'll get to share. And we have some pins as well.
Sutter County Sheriff, I don't know.
Guess they know where to head. Is everybody heading out? Oh, thank you. Forgot school was in session. All right, so next we have our Youth Commission report.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelsey Myers. I'm the Recreation Coordinator for the city and the new liaison for the Yuba City Youth Commission. I'm very excited for everything that we have coming up. We have a great group of kids with a lot of wonderful ideas, and they're going to present what they've done in the last year for you. So I will hand it off to Genevieve.
Okay. Hello. We've put together a slideshow to present to you our progress over this past year. First, I would like to introduce all of our commissioners. We have our chairperson, Samir Gupta, our vice chair, myself, Genevieve Hagan, and then we have Commissioner Aaron Ramirez, Commissioner Isabel Smith, Commissioner John Krager, Commissioner Lily Patrick, Commissioner Joanna Jarvis, Commissioner Navdeep Ball, Commissioner Raiden Toshe, Commissioner Nick Morris.
So our mission statement is the City of Yuba City Youth Commission acts as an advisory body to the City Council and involves city departments on youth-related issues. Commissioners give voice to the concerns and needs of the youth in Yuba City and provide great leadership in the community. Thank you.
So far this past year, what we've been up to is we've attended the Christmas stroll, put on movies at the school, and also attended the summer stroll and the 4th of July parade, and also created the YC311 video to help promote the app. And next month, we have the food truck event and the Harvest Festival this fall.
So the Christmas stroll is one of Yuba City's largest events. There's stalls everywhere and there's a great deal of activity that goes on. And I just love to see the positivity and the spirited energy that occurs through the night, which is why it's one of my favorite events. I was really grateful to see kids' faces light up as we waved to them while walking through the parade and we were handing out candy canes to them. It was a really heartwarming experience and I'm really eager to come this coming December. Thank you. Next slide.
This year we started doing the movies at the school for middle schoolers and high schoolers. Our first movie was at River Valley High School for middle school students. We played The Sandlot. We have one coming up soon for high schoolers, and we'd also like to thank the council for making this possible. Next slide.
We joined the community at the summer stroll this past June, I believe. And we got to play fun games with the youth in the area. And this was a really fun experience for me personally because I love the summer stroll a lot, going to see all the cool booths and all the fun games. But it was really fun because I was just appointed a week before, so it was a good chance to get to meet my fellow members. And it was I had just had a really great time. And I'm excited to do it next year. Thank you.
Last month, the Youth Commission attended Yuba City's annual 4th of July parade, which, as you know, is a big, super fun community event. We decorated town square with flags and other red, white, and blue patriotic decorations, and then we helped out the fire department by wrapping hot dogs and handing them out to guests. And then finally, the highlight of the day for everybody was getting to ride in the float at the front of the parade itself. Thank you.
The YC311 app allows members of the community to report minor cosmetic problems that they see throughout the city. The Youth Commission was tasked with making an advertisement that was comical to appeal to teenagers, yet still informative. We hashed out many brainstorm sessions, and we filmed here on Plymouth Street, so we hope you enjoy it.
We might be having technical difficulties, just as a point of clarification. So,
I think they all ought to have to act it out.
we can certainly bring it back at a future meeting if it doesn't work this evening, because I know that they put a lot of time and effort into it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. All right.
So some upcoming events we have are the food truck event, which is September 10th, and the Harvest Festival, which is in November, and we don't have a set date on that yet. And we also have the Christmas stroll, which is December 9th. Thanks.
Thank you for listening and giving us the opportunity to interact with the youth in our community. We look forward to more in the following year.
To conclude, we'd like to know if there are any questions you want us to answer.
Bring it back to the council.
When was it?
It's September 10th.
September 10th. All right.
Trying to set up a cornhole tournament.
Awesome.
And through the mayor's seat,
yes,
if I may. Samir, chairperson, I believe that when you first came on to the youth commission itself, You might have been one of the youngest people ever brought on to the Youth Commission, and you were at Butte Vista School, I think, at the time, or okay. Amazing to watch you grow over time, as well as the rest of our Youth Commission. This commission, in my estimation, is the most important commission to the council as we find out what it is that youth can do, what they will provide, and the inspiration to lead our community with different events. And with that said, I don't want to correct you, John, on what movies you guys have picked, but great choice for junior high school was Sandlot. Great one for high school would be Sandlot. And the best one for adult movie night would be Sandlot.
Awesome. Did we have the video?
I had a really great time tonight.
I did too. Oh my, what was that? I don't know. Oh crap, I'm so sorry. There was a pothole. But you know we can report this on the YC311 app. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's go.
All right. And done.
Wow, the YC311 app is so easy to use.
Well, I hope this doesn't ruin the chances for a second date.
That was great. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
These are our future leaders. And next we have Yuba Center Arts, the painting of our utility boxes. And we have David Reed, Executive Director of the Yuba Center Arts Council.
Good evening. That is a hard act to follow. Although I did like that final scene in front of one of the murals that we funded through a grant with the California Arts Council. So Vice Mayor Didball, members of the council, and other city representatives, members of the public, great to be here. I'll be brief. Is this my magic ticket? Just right. Great. The gist of what I want to discuss is the utility box project, but I wanted to take this opportunity to bring you up to date on just a couple of other things that Yuba Center Arts has been working on in Yuba City. I'll save the mission statement for another event. We are looking for a location in Yuba City for our Umbrella Sky project, if anybody has any ideas. This has brought more people into the Arts Council in the last month than the last 20 shows we've done. So I've had a lot of fun with it. It's colorful and really enjoyable. We have a daycare program going in there for the next few weeks in the courtyard under the umbrella. So it's like, wow. Just a couple of things that we're doing. I wanted to call to your attention. Yuba City and River Valley High School art teachers came to us this week. They need a new location for their art show in the spring, which typically has been hosted at the museum. Because of some other programs the museum is embarking on with the National Scholastic Art Awards, we're now going to host those both high school art shows in the spring. So we're very proud of that and happy to be able to offer that service. Portraits of Veterans, you may have heard, we're doing our second round. We did 65 portraits, high quality, black and white, close-up professional portraits of veterans earlier this year. We're going to do another 200 to 300 starting next year in next week at Stand Down in Marysville. We'll have a number of studio locations set up throughout Yuba City. I'll be publishing that list in the next week or two. We'll be at the museum, we'll be at the library, and throughout the community. Applause Performance Series start again in 2 weeks. That's where we do a joint fundraiser to help raise the money for Yuba Center Arts, but also the construction of the Performing Arts Center on Plymouth Street. We did an art crawl earlier this year where we positioned artists throughout different businesses, locations on on Plymouth Street and had a lot of fun with that, and tied that into kind of the first Thursday with artists throughout the community. Art and Oysters, a new fundraiser we're doing on Plymouth Street at Justin's Kitchen. Poetry Out Loud had tremendous participation this year from Yuba City and River Valley High Schools. Our evening with Dana Gioia, which we held at the Sutter County Library in Yuba City. He's the California Poet Laureate, as some of you may know, and also used to head up the NEA. And also began the Poetry Out Loud program. And what we're here to talk about tonight is our Cover It Mini Utility Box project, which we announced earlier this year. Did a fundraiser in conjunction with Yuba City Rotary, raised enough money to try to kind of prove the idea or prove the concept and show the community what we had in mind. Some of you, well, these are the original collaterals for the project itself in our Art, Wine, and Wickets fundraiser out at Cordy Winery. Darren's office was kind enough to provide a list of the traffic control boxes owned and controlled by Yuba City. So those were kind of our canvas. We picked a couple of high-profile locations, started talking to artists. We set up some criteria and started to evaluate submissions. So our good friend Karen Folk, a Wheatland-based artist, came up with this. We thought it was fun and relevant. I hope you'll agree. And now we have this piece of art at the corner of Stabler and Butte House Road. So give her a wave when you go by. Next up, over at 99 and Franklin, we want to do some sort of homage to our beloved chickens. It's not by any means the final artwork. I do want to work in a little visual joke, though. Chicken and the egg, why'd the chicken cross the road? So we're still working on that design. I hope to, we've got the funding for this one final box, and we're ready to go as soon as the artist finishes the concept and puts all this stuff that I just cut and pasted together. And I mentioned Live Oak only from the standpoint of a possible relationship we may want to pursue in the future, Yuba City and YSA. We have a professional services agreement with the city of Live Oak. It's a 3-year, $120,000 project. We have to do a lot of fundraising to come up with matching dollars, but they basically hired Yuba Center Arts to create murals throughout Live Oak, working with city manager Goodwin and a mural selection committee. We've gotten some tremendous pieces. We've got 2 done already. Leslie's Live Oak piece in the upper right-hand corner, Leslie Greenitz, and upper left-hand corner, Rafael Blanco, the Railroading Away mural that's also in place. Next up will be the kind of nostalgic piece of someone looking back at a photograph of we don't know who, but there's a lot of mystery in that one. And then I worked with the Public Affairs Office at Beale Air Force Base to come up with an homage to Beale. This is don't take a picture of this. This is not for release yet. They're working on the final tweaks, and hopefully we'll be ready to go with that one in a couple of weeks too before the rains start. We hope to get at least these 2 additional murals done this year. Going forward, again, I'd certainly love to meet with officials later and discuss the possibility of a utility box project, maybe look at that for additional funding, whether we do that in the form of just an amount for a few utility boxes or look at something longer term. I know I've talked to Brad McIntyre about some of the grants that are available out there. We could do something bigger, murals. I know we've talked about some additional murals in Yuba City, utility boxes, looking at more public art, and there's some big grants involved, but they're kind of beyond the scale of just what we can handle because of the matching grants involved. But we're ready to go whale hunting, so let's do it. But look forward to some follow-up conversation. Thank you very much. I think that was, oh wait, oh, there it is. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, next we have Department of Water Resources, the Oroville Dam update. And we have a presentation by Joel.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the invite and a couple of tough acts to follow, huh? You go from a lot of cool events to some artwork, and now I got to talk about a spillway at the dam. So, but anyway, thank you for the opportunity. So here's a couple of just pictures of what the spillway on the left looked like before the incident, what it looked like in the middle when we were actually having to use the spillway during the last winter. And then what it looked like not too long ago, I'd say a few weeks back. So the demolition, even though it says continued, is done. So we've done all the demo that's going to be done for this year. There was a lot of blasting that got done a couple days, I think a couple blasts a day for a period. Went pretty well. That's the fastest, most efficient way to really demo a spillway like this with all the concrete and rock, and went pretty well. Kind of a picture right now of the forms and rebar for the structural slabs and walls. So as you can see, those walls are going to be about 25 feet high. And down below, you see the forms for the structural concrete. So when we talk about structural concrete, that's the rebar that's going to go into it and the concrete itself. So they do those in plates like that, slabs, as you can see, and that's been going on for a couple weeks now. Here, just so you can kind of see the magnitude of the walls. I mean, they're going to be pretty tall. Walls and a lot of workers up there right now from the local area kind of helping us out with the project. This is on the upper chute, so you know right above where we had the erosion in that upper part of the spillway. They're doing what's called leveling concrete. So they're placing concrete in there, leveling it all, so they can turn around and put that rebar and the structural concrete over it. So they do it also in forms like that. A lot of heavy equipment that's been going on. As far as completion on the rock excavation, and if I back up a little bit, well, can't see it too well there, but anyway, the rock excavation and the foundation work is about 73% done. Now, you know, if you're not around dams a lot, when you really think about the prep work that they do, it's pretty amazing. They are literally out there with vacuum cleaners. There cannot be any loose rocks, any dirt on the rocks. They have to be really clean in order for the concrete to really stick and be, you know, really strong. So there's literally workers out there vacuum away all the work, getting all the loose stuff. It has to be really good for a strong structural. This is what we call, when we say roller compacted concrete, that middle part right in here. Can't see it. All that gray area in the middle, that's called roller compacted concrete. So different than the structural concrete. That's laid, once they level it off, they put some leveling concrete there and they can get heavy equipment down there. They start laying out this roller compacted concrete, and it's one of the fastest, most efficient ways to build spillways nowadays and dams. That because of the time we knew, and it's the latest technology, it's the way we're building most of the spillway. So you can see they're laying it, and they filled up this is the second scour hole. So if you remember pictures of the spillway, there's two big holes. One at the very top where the incident started, and then one down below where the water kind of carved into the left. This is the bottom one that's finally been filled in with roller compacted concrete. This shows a picture of towards the bottom of the spillway. Also, those are the anchoring. You know, when we talk about what is it anchored to, so all those things you see sticking out, bars are them being the concrete being drilled into the rock, into some good rock, and anchoring the spillway down. We say it's 24/7, but they're really working 2 10-hour shifts. You do have to allow some times for shifts to exchange and also for, you know, handoffs between the two groups. But for all intents and purposes, it's 24/7. They're out there working safely, working to get it done by November. Any questions on that? On the actual spillway itself? So the structural concrete, we're about 1%. I mean, we just started laying that structural concrete down about a couple weeks ago. The beginning, it starts off kind of slow as they work the mix has to be the right specs, and they start work, they get a rhythm going, then it starts to move a lot faster. The RCC, we're about 9% complete. Any questions on the spillway itself? I mean, we're still moving towards completing November 1st and having a spillway that's usable for next winter. Doesn't mean that work will end up at Oroville. We're going to continue to work on the emergency spillway and other areas there, but any questions so far?
Does council have any questions?
Here is a graph of when we talk about where are we taking the lake down to by November 1st. This is the plan that we had approved by FERC and Division of Safety of Dams that we're following. And if you see that black trace in between the green and the blue, those are the limits we need to stay within. And so right now we're tracking around 774, I think, towards the middle of August. By November 1st, we will be right around 700. So that's the target. Right now, we've been working with the Corps of Engineers on the new flood control graph that'll be similar to this on how we're going to operate for the rest of the winter, for next winter and on, till there's a new spillway. And that we'll be meeting with FERC at the end of this month. We'll have what our new plan is going to be, and then we'll work through the process with them on making sure public safety is the first priority of managing the reservoir, and we'll have another published plan after that. That was all the information I had, but open to any questions. I plan to keep updating you guys as we talked at the community meetings, and I think it's important that you guys know where we're at on the project. So far, everything's going well. The schedule is very aggressive. We're trying to get a lot done in these months between May and November, but I think Kiewit is doing a great job. They're up to the task. I mean, they're a good company, and I think so far we're doing well.
Thank you, Joel. We'll have you come up to the podium. Yeah, because we can't hear anything. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take some questions.
So my question is, the upper section of where the gates are, that concrete that's there, is that all going to be removed also? Or are they next year? So we're going to tie into that?
Yes.
Okay, that's my question.
Great, thank you. Just wanted to make sure your questions were answered.
And just to add on to that clarification, so this year we did a lot of drilling, bore testing, concrete testing, and the rocks under the slab testing, so that us and FERC could be assured that it was still in good shape to use for this year. So everything turned out good. They had over 100 core drills in there just to verify. But next year, that'll get ripped out and brand new structural concrete placed.
Great. Council have any questions?
Madam Mayor, just on behalf of City Administration, I'd like to thank Mr. Ledesma for being here this evening. Just so the public knows, he's DWR Deputy Director. Staff has shared with DWR our concerns regarding past communications or lack thereof, and Mr. Ledesma has made the strong commitment to keeping Yuba City in the loop, and I just wanted to share publicly our appreciation for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. All right. Our next item is for public hearing. We have our Recology Yuba City rate adjustment for the rate year of 2018 and the related amendment to the 2001 collection service agreement. We have our city manager, Steve Krieger.
Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, good evening. This is an annual process with regard to our solid waste service provider, Recology. Your council entered into an agreement with Recology in 2011 that is set to expire in 2019. As part of this agreement, there's an annual process, a review of rates. Brought before you this year is what is referred to as a refuse rate adjustment year. It's an index that's made of several different components. The second page of your staff report includes a breakdown of those components, which include labor, fuel, vehicle maintenance, vehicle replacement, disposal, and other related costs. That comes out to be 1.42%. There's also a franchise fee adjustment of 1% that was built into the collection services agreement. That results in a 2.46% adjustment to rates. And that would result into most of us who live in residential homes who have a 32-gallon service, 68 cents a month. So that just brings it down into kind of a real number for all of us to understand what this means. There is also a summary of a 10-year rate adjustment average of a little over 2%. So these adjustments have been reasonable over time, and that's what we're trying to achieve, are gradual rates over time rather than sudden rates that come less than periodically. I do want to recognize a few folks in the audience tonight. We do have Mike Leggins, General Manager with Recology. We have Jackie Silman, the familiar face of Recology. And sitting next to Jackie is Keith Martin with the Regional Waste Management Authority that plays an instrumental role for the city of Yuba City. He, in essence, serves as our solid waste staff to assist us through this process. So I want to express my appreciation to Keith and his staff. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. We'll go ahead and bring it back to council if you have any questions at this time. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and open it for a public hearing. No. Okay. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for anyone in the public to speak or address this item. I do have a speaker card for Dale McDowell. So we'll go ahead and have you. I'm sorry? Oh, you did say water rates. So how about we go back to your card when we get to the public communication? Okay. I just have it as number 7. So, anyone else wish to speak? Okay. So if there's no comments at this time, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission or to the council.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. All right. We've got action to go ahead and move forward. Next, we have our bid openings. We have the Butte House Bikeway Extension Project, and we have Diana Langley.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. In July, we brought before you the Butte House Bikeway Extension Project for authorization to bid. The reason for the project is Butte House Road between just west of Ranchero to Madison currently is too narrow to accommodate bike lanes, and the condition of the pavement is very poor. The scope of the work includes widening Butte House Road to provide 8-foot bike lanes, overlaying, and then doing the striping. So we went out to bid. 4 bids were received in August, and the low bidder was Knife River Construction of Chico, California, in the amount of $378,633. The engineer's estimate was $391,000. The project is funded through a combination of road funds as well as a grant through the bicycle transportation account. And so staff is recommending award of contract 1311 Butte House Bikeway Extension Project to Knife River Construction of Chico in the amount of their bid of $378,633 and authorizing the city manager to execute the contract. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Diana. Does council have any questions? No? Anyone from the public like to comment? No? Okay, we'll bring it back for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, thank you. Next, we have the 5th Street Bridge Replacement Project, and we have Kevin Bradford.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. Item 9 before you tonight is a continuation of an item that we had on the July 18th meeting. At that meeting, staff presented bidding information for the 5th Street Bridge Replacement Project. And so just to quickly recap, we advertised the project on May 12th. It had a total of 8 bidders, purchase plans and specifications. And on July 6th, We received 5 bids. The apparent low bidder was MCM Construction at about approximately $57 million. And the apparent second low bidder was Flatiron West at approximately $64 million, with an engineer's estimate around $55 million. At the July 18th meeting, staff recommended postponing award of a construction contract due to a pending bid protest. And staff eventually did receive that bid protest from Flatiron West, contesting the following items in MCM's bid. They noted extended item prices were left blank. There were pricing errors in individual bid items. The total amount bid was in error, and subcontractor information was omitted and then revised at the 24-hour submittal process. And then they also contested inadequate good faith effort documentation as part of the disadvantaged business enterprise process. Staff provided the bid protest to MCM Construction, who responded to each of the above items. However, on advice of legal counsel, staff recommends rejecting all bids and re-advertising the project as the best option for moving the project forward to construction. This will avoid continued delays to the project stemming from issues related to the bids that could result in additional claims. So what does the schedule look like for re-advertising? We could get the project out to bid in August, open bids in September, with an award following in October. Construction could start in November, and barring any weather or permit-related delays, conceivably could be completed in April of 2020. So we're basically losing about 3 months over the original schedule that we had proposed. Next up is, so what is staff doing to try to ensure that we have a clean bid next time? First and foremost, this time around, we're going to require that bidders submit their bids electronically using an online form. That will eliminate any legibility issues that we noticed in this particular bidding process, and the form will automatically calculate the extended totals, so those won't be missing. We're also going to include a simpler subcontractor form that will basically just require contractors to submit the minimum information that is required by law. And finally, bid protest procedures will be added, requiring protests to be filed within 5 business days. So with that, staff is recommending that council reject all bids for the Fifth Street Bridge Replacement Project and authorize the Public Works Department to re-advertise. And I'm available for any questions.
Okay, I'll bring it back to council for any questions of staff at this time. No? Nothing? Okay. I do have a couple of, I'm going to go ahead and open this for the public. I do have a couple of speaker cards. We have Dustin Jones. Dustin, go ahead and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Okay. Dustin Jones, address is 4747 Executive Drive down in San Diego. I am counsel to the bidder referenced in the presentation, Flatiron West. We were the ones that filed the protest. And as a preliminary matter, I don't think anybody from MCM is here tonight, so I don't see any reason to kind of get in deep on what the defects in MCM's bid are. But Mr. Bradford did soft sell it a little bit. There were 200 omissions in the bid. So that's the reason that we filed the protest. The bid forms were just, half of them were blank. City Attorney Hayes and outside counsel Kevin Wang, they ran a transparent and effective, efficient bid protest process. I think the council should know that. I'd just like to talk briefly about the options that are 100% within the discretion of the council. One of them is what's recommended, reject all bids. If you reject all bids, there's absolutely no way that a legal challenge can be mounted. That's 100%. within the council's discretion. While there's no legal downside to doing it, there's the practical downside of delay, perhaps price escalation on rebid, and maybe we're here in 3 months with another protest, depending on how the bids come in. And it's because of those challenges, potential challenges, that we'd like you to consider just awarding to Flatiron, which is the lowest responsive bidder for the project. Flatiron submitted a responsive bid and nobody protested our bid. It is 100% acceptable by this council. So is it a good deal? Flatiron's bid was $64 million for this project. For perspective, the other 3 responsive bidders came in at 78 to 90.2 million. They averaged 85 million. So Flatiron's bid is more than $20 million lower than the average of the other responsive bidders. And so for this reason, we think that the council should consider Flatiron's bid, avoid the delay, get the project going, and get the bridge built at a fair price. And I think the bid protest process has been very thorough, and there's absolutely no option to accept MCM's bid. So there's 2 options, and they're both 100% in the council's discretion. We ask that the council exercise that discretion in favor of getting the bridge done now, rather than a 3-month delay.
Great, thank you, Dustin. Next, we have a speaker card from Blaine Austin.
Do I need state name?
Go ahead and
address?
state your name and address, please, for the record.
My name is Blaine Austin. Address is 2100 Goodyear Road in Benicia. As I just said, my name's Blaine Austin. I'm the estimating manager for Flatiron West, and as you're all aware, we submitted the second lowest bid on this project. However, we're convinced that we submitted the lowest responsive bid on this project. A bid proposal isn't simply just filling out a bottom line number anymore to construct a job. Bid forms, specifically the sublisting forms, are becoming more and more extensive, and we're finding that owners and agencies such as the city of Yuba City are becoming more and more critical as to the accuracy of those bid forms, and specifically referencing the subcontractor listing form. As a result, we're closing out earlier with our subs and suppliers. We're no longer allowing them to submit quotes to us at the last possible minute, so that we can avoid making the errors that and the omissions that MCM made in their bid on this job. We're doing this just to ensure that our bid forms are complete and accurate. We feel that we provided a very competitive price, and I just want the council to know that Flatiron, should the council decide to accept Flatiron's bid, we're completely ready to build this project, including a full falsework design, trestle design for over the river, CPM schedule that has all of the environmental constraints loaded into it. And I just hope that we're hopeful that the council will see fit to award this job to Flatiron. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public like to make a comment? If not, I'll just go ahead and bring it back to council for questions, concerns, or motion.
My comments are delays are inevitable when we're talking about a big project. This is a project that started many years ago by the city of Yuba City. It has been in the works. There's been an attempt over time to get the successful funding for this. We have partners that are Sutter County, Yuba County, and the city of Marysville in this project. This is a project for our community. It's a project that will serve the public safety of our community. It will serve the public safety of Marysville, Yuba County, and Sutter County. To do this project correctly, I believe that we need to follow the recommendations that are currently out there. The additional dollars, the threat of increasing price do not deter me from moving to this next recommendation. That's to reject all bids received for contract 1701 for the Fifth Street Bridge Replacement Project in accordance with the Public Contract Code Section 22038A, and authorize Public Works Department to re-advertise for bids for the contract 1701, the Fifth Street Bridge Replacement Project in accordance with the Public Contract Code Section 22038A1. And with that, that is the motion that I would put forward.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. Okay. Madam Clerk, can we go ahead and take roll call vote on this one, please?
Vice Mayor Didball?
Yes.
Councilmember Buckland?
Yes.
Councilmember Cardoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin. Next, we have open public communication. You're welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on items listed on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on the items not listed on the agenda will be also heard at this time. Comments on controversial items may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. We do have a speaker card, a written request here from Dale. Dale McDowell for public comment.
Name's Dale McDowell, and bring your attention back to the water rates that were stated here at the council meeting. I think in June that you were going to increase the rates on July the 1st. I got a water bill for this month. The rates are increased, went effect on June the 1st, which was stated July the 1st. We also had a flyer in the in the water bill, which is what 19,000 of them went out, so to speak. But in the comparison to water, we've got a latte. Bottled water, and your prices are way off there. Come down to where Yuba City water is the least expensive, but I think we'll be paying for it for the next 30, 40 years because there's other things that are tied into that. Then you say that the city employees work. I agree, they work. Take care of everything. That's their job. They're compensated for it. That wasn't mentioned in here. Then it says turnover. Here's a chart. It says turnover on the back of this. Water rate increases. Water rates from 8/1/16 to 6/31. But June's only got 30 days in it for number one. Then new water rates effective July the 1st, 2017. This bill that I got is for June water, not July. So jumped ahead of a month last year, which amounted to about an additional $300,000, a pretty good estimate for what you got extra because you went a month ahead on the raise. This year you're going 2 months ahead. That'll be worth $450,000. You got $750,000 that you've hit 19,000 meters for. So what's the principle? What's the idea of doing that? You're not even doing what you say you'll do. You're crossing everybody up and increasing way ahead of time. So.
Thank you, Dale. Diana, did you want to comment? You might have a better answer.
I'd be happy to respond.
Thank
So
you.
last year, in 2016, when council adopted the water rates and the ordinance went into effect, in the ordinance it says as of 2017, the rates will go into effect as of July 1st. And so even though the consumption took place in June, we read the meters on July 1st, and so it's on a billing on a go-forward basis. So the July billing, the new rates were applied to the July billing as of July 1st. And the reason behind that is so that we have a full fiscal year of rate increases.
Great, thank you, Diana.
I don't know. I find it amazing here that I really can't understand that. It says, my water bill that I just received the first of this month was for service from 6/1 to 7/1, which is June 30th for the month. The new rates are applied. That doesn't mean that's saying July, so they went in effect June. You were going to raise them July the 1st, but you raised them June the 1st.
They were effective July 1st.
Pardon me?
Yeah, they're effective for July 1st.
How come I got charged the new rates for June? And I imagine everybody else did. I would assume. I don't think.
Madam Vice Mayor, I understand Dale's concern. I sincerely do. And I can relate with it. It is a matter of the way that it's structured.
Mm-hmm.
We bill July 1, so the intent all the time was to take the usage, the billing for that month, and apply the new rate to it. I can understand where he's coming from. It's a matter of the way it was structured, and
it wasn't structured that way before. So that's just an adjustment to your structure.
So this is the first year you're saying we've done it this way?
No, you went a month ahead. Last year you started in August. You normally went on September the 1st for a price increase.
Okay.
Because of 218 and everything, it went to August. That was a month ahead of time that you got the new rates. Now the rates changed again. They're supposed to change July the 1st. That means for the consumer usage for July, not the consumer usage for June the 1st.
And that was not our intent. Our intent is what we did, but I do understand what I do. I doubt that helps to have you hear me say that. I really do. But
enjoy the $750,000 then. I don't know, you got a slush.
We won't bill you for another month next year. I promise.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
And Dale, I don't want you to think that it's a slush fund, because the dollars are accounted for in our budget annually, and in our fiscal year, that money's already accounted for on a go forward basis from July 1, the July 1 billing on forward. I agree with your concern that it falls back to the June 1st date. I understand that part. But I think if you sit down with Diana, she can explain and show you in our documents that this money is already accounted for. It's not extra money. It's money that And I just don't want the public to think we're going out and buying lattes with it either for rate adjustment comparisons. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have our consent calendar, and all the matters listed under our consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items prior to time that council votes on the motion, unless the members of the city council, staff, or public request items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Do we have anything that needs to be removed or make a motion?
Go ahead.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that takes care of items through number 22. So item number 23, in our general item sections, we have the purchase of upgrade for existing CCTV vehicle. We have Tim Bybee, who will have a presentation for us.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Tim Bybee. I am the interim sewer collection supervisor. Tonight I would like to talk about the purchase of a closed-circuit television vehicle upgrade. The sewer division is responsible for 225 miles of sewer main. The CCTV truck inspects and records the entire city in 3 years based on state recommendations and good preventative maintenance. When I first started 10 years ago, we averaged 3 to 5 sewer plugs a week. With the purchase of this CCTV truck, it has enabled staff to determine possible locations of sewer plugs. We currently have less than 20 sewer plugs a year now. We purchased this vehicle in January of 2008 from Weco Industries. The original cost was just under $182,000. If we were to replace this vehicle today, the cost would be roughly $269,000. The truck and chassis are in excellent condition. We need to upgrade our current operating system. The computer system and equipment are obsolete, and we are experiencing operational issues, and it is no longer being supported by the manufacturer. In addition to the operating system, some equipment needs to be replaced. Due to the harsh environment, contaminants have worn down the protective coating on the video cable, allowing it to break very easily, as well as corroding all associated parts, such as the reel that the cable is attached to and the cage it's installed in. We would like to add a couple of safety modifications as well. A safety step would be added for easier access in and out of the rear doors. Also, exterior drawers will be added to keep contaminated equipment segregated. The Summit system is the industry standard. With this upgrade, the city will get an additional 5+ years of service life from this vehicle. Q's is a proprietary system, and in my research, I found that it would be in the best interest of the city to stay with this manufacturer. Other manufacturers require the purchase of equipment as well as the operating system. Staff recommends award the purchase of an upgrade for the existing Q's CCTV vehicle to the Summit system to Weco Industries in the amount of $51,186.33. Authorize the finance director to make a transfer from the unallocated water fund to vehicle replacement fund, and a supplemental appropriation of the same amount with the finding that it is in the best interest of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Have any questions for Tim? Yeah.
Tim, what are we doing with the old stuff if we get the new thing?
As far as the equipment, what they do is they will take the vehicle down to Vacaville, where Q's is located, and they will remove all the old equipment. And being that it's 8 to 9 years old, it's very contaminated, wore out, and they'll dispose of it properly.
They just get rid of it?
Yes.
All right.
Any other questions?
Well, I was just going to make a comment. If you ever saw where those things go, you'd hope somebody would take possession of it other than the city.
All right. Do we have anyone in the public that would like to speak on that? No? We'll bring it back to council for motion.
Through the mayor, I'd like to make staff's recommendation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second. What did you say?
Oh, all good? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next we have the purchase of one Raby 5 I-Series street sweeper. And we have Jack McDaniel.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Jack McDaniel, and I am the street maintenance supervisor. I'm here tonight to request authorization for the purchase of a Ravo 5 I-Series street sweeper. Public Works currently has two regenerative air sweepers manufactured by Timco. The sweepers were purchased in 2000 and 2003 respectively. Both have over 200,000 miles and a yearly maintenance cost of $13,000 each. They are both near the end of their service life. Department staff has researched replacement street sweepers and found that many agencies are moving to vacuum-style sweepers. Staff was particularly impressed with the Rabo 5i series and has coordinated several demonstrations with MME, the local sales representative for Rabo. A comparison of the Rabo sweeper to the Timco sweeper is provided in the table. As you can see, the Rabo sweeper will provide significant fiscal savings in terms of fuel consumption, water consumption, and maintenance costs. The Rabo sweeper recycles the water, which improves efficiency and reduces water usage. The Rabo sweeper also has a third broom/weed cutter, which makes the removal of weeds on medians much easier. With the vacuum technology, the Rabo sweeper has enough suction power to pick up bricks, cans, aggregate, and etc. that are typically left behind by other sweepers. Finally, the Rabo sweeper has a suction hose for cleaning DIs, potentially eliminating staff's need to use the wastewater collections VAC-on going forward. Public Works currently sweeps approximately 425 miles of curb and gutter monthly and responds to approximately 15 requests each month, i.e. vehicle accidents, gravel spills, etc. During the research of other agencies, staff learned that the City of Modesto recently purchased the same Rabo sweeper from MME through a formal bid process. Staff's recommendation is to piggyback on the City of Modesto's pricing and bid process. Staff is requesting some ancillary equipment not included in the City of Modesto's bid, which increased the cost by $8,635.25. The ancillary equipment includes an air suspended driver's seat, the water recycling system, 100 and 500 hour service kits, spare front and rear tires, spare gutter broom and third brooms, and a wear kit that includes suction and water spray nozzles. So it's staff's recommendation that you authorize the purchase of one Rabo 5 I-Series street sweeper to MME of Sacramento in the amount of $245,907.93 by piggybacking on the City of Modesto's competitively bid contract with the finding that it is in the best interest of the city. Also to authorize a transfer from Streets and Roads unallocated to the Vehicle Replacement Fund of $8,635.25 and a supplemental appropriation for the same amount for the estimated ancillary equipment costs. So in closing, the total fiscal impact of the Rabo sweeper would be $254,830.25.
Great, thank you. All right, any questions?
Yeah, Mayor. Jack, just one question. As I was looking at this piece of equipment, I noticed that they also had available camera systems.
Yes.
Is this fully equipped with camera systems, or is?
Yes, it's got.
I just wasn't sure if it was an add-on or if it came with all those systems in it.
Right. Yeah, it is fully equipped.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What's the life expectancy of this particular equipment?
As far as I understand, they're 15 to 20 years.
How long have we had the last the one we have now? Do you know?
We bought one in 2000 and one in 2003.
Oh, three. Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No.
Not, I'll move to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Great.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next we have Spencer with our investment report. Quarter ending June 30th.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. I do have the quarterly treasurer's report for you. You can see that the market value for the city's portfolio ended June 30th right at 104.3 million. 98.1 million was city held and 6.2 was trustee held, basically various bond issues that the city holds. 4.3 million net increase from last quarter. Some of the major cash transactions where we did receive the second installment of the annual property tax. for about $9 million. We had payroll of about $9.6 million. This is a little bit more than the last quarter I reported because there's a third payroll in the month of June, which all the employees appreciate very much. The Flood Control Agency had about $8.7 million of construction costs, and sales tax receipts came in right around $3 million. And we did pay some debt service and receive bond proceeds from our CREBS, the renewable energy bonds the city issued. We did sell or have 12 investments mature. We purchased 9. The average yield of the bonds that were sold or matured was 1.125, and the average yield of the bonds purchased was 1.664. So you can see that we're slowly replacing the lower yielding bonds and investments with higher. The city held composition, the bonds made up about 54% of the portfolio. The largest percentage of those would be the agency bonds, such as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We even have a little bit of Farmer Mac in this portfolio now. And the local agency investment funds and other cash-like investments made up about 46%, the other 46%. You can see from this maturity distribution that we do have quite a bit of, we're holding about 45.1% is cash equivalent. This, to remind you, came about when we started working with, when Flood Control Agency started getting active, and all of a sudden the city went from average check runs of in the hundreds of thousands to several $1 million per week because of all the activity with the Flood Control Agency, and we do handle the treasury for the Flood Control Agency as well. And I expect that once the levy work starts to wrap up, that these cash holdings will start to get lower and lower, and we'll have a larger percentage invested either in short term or kind of that midterm up to 5 years mark. So staff's recommendation is simply a note and file, but I'm also here to answer any questions if you have any.
Does council have any questions for Spencer? Guess we're going to let you loose.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, next we have our fireworks enforcement strategies related to the use of the dangerous and illegal fireworks after action report. So we have our chief to present. It's just you. I don't see Pete.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. Get this on the right page. I'm here tonight to talk about the fireworks enforcement strategy related to the use of dangerous and illegal fireworks, kind of an after-action report from last year. Last year, in the April 25th meeting, council was asked to consider some following options to help reduce the amount of illegal fireworks and the subsequent issues that it caused with quality of life in Yuba City. So we presented 4 different things: a public education campaign, increased directed enforcement by the fire and police departments, public awareness campaign, enhanced enforcement again, and maintain status quo. These were the 5 different things. After looking at those, these were the 4 council recommendations after some careful consideration. So we brought 5 things to the council. These are the 4 things that we decided to act upon. Do a public education campaign, which consisted of radio ads, magazine articles, Facebook, newspaper ads, posters, information booths, a variety of different things. These are some of the different items that were done, inclusive of putting a flyer with every single legal fireworks place and putting them in the water bills. So we really wanted to get the word out to everybody to let them know that we would be citing people in the upcoming year. There was a couple of ads we put in the Appeal Democrat also to let people know, to get them informed. In fact, in the additional enforcement, we had 4 days, which was July 1st through July 4th. And during those 4 days, we added 1 officer to 4 different beats. So we had 4 officers, and we had 4 fire personnel from July 1st to July 3rd. They were doubled up. 1 deputy and 1 pilot from July 1st through July 4th. And on July 4th itself, myself and the fire chief went out again with others. So we had a total of 5 officers and 5 personnel on July 4th. During that time, we had 185 calls for service for illegal fireworks through dispatch, and we had 52 additional calls through the YC311 calls. We had 24. We ended up issuing 24 citations for illegal fireworks, which is, although it looks like we had 185 calls and only 105 the year before, I think a lot of that was based on the fact that we asked for people to call and we solicited their input and we used the YC311. So it's just a baseline number. I don't think you compare one to the other adequately. Citizens were encouraged to call in, and the media campaign was successful in that effort. 2016, we issued less than 5 citations. I didn't get the exact number. They're really hard to track through our system, but we had 5, and we believe they were all none through the social ordinance, though, because we did not have that in place. In 2014 to 2016, the call volume was greatest between 9 and 11 p.m. In 2017, the calls dropped at 10 p.m., allowing patrol to have a greater impact after 10 o'clock. There were certain areas in Yuba City that experienced a drastic reduction in the amount of illegal fireworks. One of them was in northwest Yuba City. Unfortunately, the middle western portion, Royal Ranchero, and that area in Shanghai Bend, were the most active calls for service in the use of illegal fireworks. 133 out of 185 calls for service through dispatch occurred on July 4th. 54 of them occurred between 9 and 10 p.m. 95 calls happened before 10 p.m. For 2018, based on those numbers, some of the things that we would do would be a redeployment of, we don't think that it'd be, we were very impactful on the first 3 days, or it's necessary for us to have that much patrol offers on. I think we should really focus on the July 4th date. One of the biggest issues that we faced last year, and we continue to face, is trying to respond to these. The greatest volume happened over a certain period of time, usually between, obviously when it gets dark, so around 8:30 to about 10 o'clock, and that's because of the legal use of fireworks. If you go out and try to drive around during that period of time, you're not going to have a lot of luck. Everybody's out in the streets, so although you see the fireworks being dispatched up in the air, it's really hard for patrol to maneuver around that because you have so many kids and children, families out during that time. And then when we did happen to see a lot of these, as we rolled up to them, we would see the mortar tubes out there, but nobody around it. And not only was nobody around it, but the people that were around it didn't see what happened. They just happened to miss it. So I think we're going to look at a lot of different avenues this year. Some of the things we're going to explore is a reward system. But upon review of the data, it's obvious that 1 year does not present enough information to effectively, conclusively evaluate the success of the program. This was the first step of a problem that is statewide in California and is increasing in activity due to the availability of illegal fireworks. We did notice a decline, like I talked about, after 10 p.m. I think we kind of got a grasp on it as we were able to respond faster. I think people knew that we were getting out there quicker. It allowed us to focus the attention of the direct enforcement teams specifically to the illegal areas, and we issued a lot of citations after that period of time also. Anecdotally, I believe this helped in the volume of calls for illegal fireworks, although they did still continue after that time to a much lesser degree. On the enforcement side, I think issuing 24 citations will not be effectively measured until next year, as we really had no baseline the year before to help as a deterrent. Our hope is that the publicity from this year's citations and the public awareness of the citations will help serve as a deterrent for the next year. From the continued number of complaints, written and phone calls, it's apparent that this area of enforcement needs to continue. Staff plans on continuing to meet, solicit input from the community, other agencies, and the City Council, and bringing back a plan of action to Council for February of 2018. And we'll continue to explore technology and other statewide agencies' efforts in our plans of action. We're very lucky this year. I saw we presented the Aero Squadron team an award. They're very good. I mean, we had some problems initially being the first year, and one of those was communication. So we had to establish a better way to communicate. And that's problematic because of the systems that they're using. And I think next year we're going to refine that a little bit more. We'll continue to explore the uses of drone and other technology, different apps that are coming out. And again, one of the things we may look towards is some type of reward system. Some other areas we'd like to explore is maybe enhancing the Children's 4th of July Parade, collaborate with other public and private entities, more public involvement, continue to look for a public forum for a 4th of July celebration in the evening. And that's going to have to be done with the public committee. It's not going to be able to be done just by the city. We're going to need a lot of help from the public. And then again, we'd like to continue the enforcement because we do feel it was effective. And I think that's the only way that you're going to have the impact is by continuing the enforcement. Some people were uncooperative this year, but on the other hand, as I was responding to one call, some of the neighbors weren't cooperative, and the RP, the reporting party, called back and said, hey, can you just have the officer meet me and I'll drive him right to the house? And boom, it was very effective. On the other hand, sometimes we responded to calls where we'd be issuing a citation, and in the upper area you could see several fireworks still going off. So I think a lot of people got the words. In certain areas it was very impactful, and in other areas I think the follow-up on these citations is going to be important. And I think $1,000 fine is a big deterrent. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that's going to be how we collect on that. And I know tomorrow is going to be the first, or Thursday is going to be the first hearings. So we're very fortunate to have retired Chief Rich Detmer come in and be the public hearing officer. And we're going to see how that turns out. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. And the recommendation is just note and file at this time.
Okay. Rob, I just have to say that being the first year using this type of enforcement, I really feel that by next year the word will get out and it will deter people from doing this. I'm sure we're still going to have them. It's not going to go away, but I do feel that this will get the word out. I know I heard it in different places. People were talking, hey, they were out there enforcing, and then they'll see me and it was probably a group that was causing the issues and they all got quiet. So I know the word is getting out. I did also notice that after 4th of July, there was less the next day, at least in my area, in the North Yuba City area, that I did notice that we didn't have as many. Even the next day, it was less compared to last year. Felt less of a war zone. So
Thank you.
Appreciate all the efforts that were put there.
To the Mayor. I promise to keep my comments short. It'll probably be less than about half an hour tonight. Councilmember Cardoza asked that I at least expand on some of my thoughts from the past.
Don't forget the video.
Shall we put the
Chief, the first thing that I want to say is I have a profound thanks to the police department, the efforts made by the police and fire to combating this and taking it seriously. I think our public statements as members of the public need to be clear and concise in what is going to happen, that we are taking action, that it will not be tolerated any further. And I commend the Sheriff's Department and Aero Squadron for stepping up and providing that resource that I know can be perfected. And I'll talk to you a little bit about, away from this meeting, about some of the technology that can be employed for communication to make it more clean and also be pinpoint for GPS purposes of locating violators. I'm just afraid if I give it up in a public setting, everybody's going to be aware of what potentially is out there. One of the things that I also would be looking at are public service announcements from some of the violators. I would be more than willing to make adjustments if it had to be done through an ordinance or whatever means to allow violators to engage and provide some of the public service announcements for this next year. I think no better word comes, and they're effective in many types, DUI drivers, drug offenders, many of those. Those are great forums that come out. The city's effort with the bags that had information on them, their shopping bags, I think that was a great advancement in our community. I'd love to see enough of those bags put together that at the fireworks stands, all of the legal fireworks stands would provide at least one bag to each customer that comes into those stands. I think that begins to get the word out even on a larger basis. I do have to acknowledge that on the 4th of July, I left town. I went to watch, and it's the second time that I've done it, the number 10 fireworks display or show in the United States. It rivals anything that Washington, D.C., not New York, because they spend a lot of money on their hour-long show, but it rivals anything that you can imagine. Not one, I didn't see one illegal firework around that location at all. It was all part of the show, and people waited patiently for dark to fall and to be able to watch a very spectacular event. The event that I went to is at South Lake Tahoe, and there were a lot of folks there from Yuba City that were all around at different locations at South Lake Tahoe to watch that. I think that that's something that we as a community need to look forward to, is putting on, again, some type of a community display that provides an opportunity to see some spectacular fireworks that are far more safe than launching them in neighborhoods and creating the chaos. I'm not so lucky that I live in an area that they like to light them off starting on about June the 30th, maybe on the 28th of June, if they've gotten their supply in from out of state, and going all the way to the 8th of July. Now, I didn't mind the 8th of July because it's my wife's birthday on the 8th of July, so I looked at it as a celebration of her birthday. But these are going on the south end of Yuba City for a long duration. And it is disruptive to our neighborhoods, to our animals, to our peace of mind. You know what? Launching these things, I want to go find somebody one night that's doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning and give them a piece of my mind, because it wouldn't be a pretty piece of my mind that they might receive. But it's ridiculous. There is no concept of, does this disrupt my neighbors? They just do it to do it. And I can only imagine that at that time of the morning, there's probably some type of fuel that is added to that people are probably engaged in at the time. So with that, I'm going to stop it short because I know that Mr. Cardoza would like to use my remaining 20 minutes for his dissertation on the 4th of July. So, but thank you, Chief. And again, thank you to the fire department also for their efforts.
All right. Councilmember Cardoza. You sure?
I'm good.
Okay. Any other comments?
Just real quick, Chief, I quite simply just want to thank you for your effort on that. You clearly put a lot into it. And the report here today is very encouraging, and you have a lot of plans in place for the future and plan on keeping it up. And that's great. That's what we need, is keep them the feet to the fire. I don't know if that's a good pun or not, but yeah, follow up and keep doing and be safe out there. Have you thought of maybe doing some plainclothes?
We actually had undercover cars this year.
You did already?
Several of them
Okay.
were undercover.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the thought. Absolutely.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Next, we have the 2016-17 Grand Jury Emergency Evacuation Report response.
Excuse me, there was a speaker request.
Oh, that's right.
on
I'm
this
so
one.
sorry.
Sorry,
We
from
do.
Bob Gorchesi.
Thank you. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm sorry. Bob Cortez. Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob. All right, we got Steve for our 2016-2017 Grand Jury Emergency Evacuation Report response.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I do want to take a brief opportunity to thank Mr. Bybee and Mr. McDaniel. This was I believe, their first presentation before the council. And if there were model presentations, however they planned well, because you were up here like a couple of old pros. So well done, gentlemen.
It was spot on.
The grand jury sent to the city on June 29th is when we received a letter requesting a response to their report regarding the emergency evacuation. They requested that your council respond. They invited response from city management. There is a consolidated response that is provided for your consideration. One thing of note is that it was apparent upon reviewing their questions and findings that they did not have the opportunity to review your council's post-incident action summary report that you adopted, I believe, and it was in April of this year. So as part of the package that's proposed to be sent back to the grand jury, that would be included for their consideration. And of course, we've noted as well that if they would like to meet with city staff to discuss any of their findings or the after-action report, we'd be happy to meet with them. So presuming that you would be satisfied with the response as drafted, our next step would be to submit this response to the grand jury. Of course, the council, at your pleasure, can make any amendments as you so desire. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right. Thank you, Steve. We'll bring it back to council for questions, comments. Okay. As far as approval for a response?
Go on staff's recommendation.
Okay. Do we have a second? Or all approve? Moving for approval? I'll second. Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
And next, we have the participation in the Bi-County Homeless Services Authority, the JPA. Steve again.
Yeah, I
no
didn't
wonder
go far,
you
did
didn't
I?
move.
It's usually Diana that sits up here all
now.
night. Tonight I'm going to do that, play that role. The council's been participating in a regional leadership committee on homelessness. The two individuals who have been assigned to that are Council Member Buckland and Councilman Cardoza. This has been taking place, first established in fall 2016. There have been a lot of meaningful meetings. The evolution of conversation started very broadly, and it quickly evolved into conversation regarding a joint powers authority. So a joint powers authority would involve each of the agencies assigning an individual to sit on a regional body in an effort to advance solutions of regional homelessness. Included in your packet is an action plan that has been developed as part of this effort. At this time, the regional leadership committee and the respective city managers and county administrators find that this JPA, or Joint Powers Authority, would be the best next step. I think it's notable for the city because traditionally it's been counties that are involved in social services, which is the support net for the safety net for such things as homelessness. The city has always been very willing to have conversations with the county with regard to how we might assist, but we're not set up as a financial structure to necessarily have programs for homelessness. So there is not a financial contribution required as participation in the JPA, but we are hopeful that by forming this regional effort, we will be able to tap into funds at the state and possibly national level to be able to demonstrate that we want to do this as a regional effort. Whereas some places say we're alone in doing it, we want to say we have 6 jurisdictions that are willing to address the needs of 170,000 people between 2 counties. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. The recommendation before you is to authorize the mayor to sign the Bi-County Homeless Services Authority, JPA, and to assign a council representative and an alternate to that board, and whether or not the current individuals who have been assigned, being Councilmember Buckland as the primary and Councilmember Cardoza as the alternate, that's up to your council whether you'd like to proceed with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Bring it back to council for questions, comments, additions.
The only comments I have is it's very encouraging to be able to work within this community with multiple jurisdictions looking to focus on a problem that many want to shuffle off into other kind of baskets of responsibility. And as this group has come together, it's been more than encouraging to see the willingness to participate at a very broad level, but yet to drill down into the actual root causes and also looking at elimination of certain behaviors, problems, lifestyles, and providing opportunity for our homeless to be able to advance from the condition that they're currently in to a more productive lifestyle and remain in our community. Some communities choose just simply to move homeless on. And I think that we recognize throughout the United States right now and in other countries that homelessness is not something that you can just simply move about. You need to start addressing it. Not that you want to be a magnet to outside homelessness arriving here for services, but being able to serve a community in a very strong and responsive way. What I find from the development of a JPA and what I was most concerned about, and I think that probably most of us would agree, is to not add an additional layer to our responses, but to use it as a conduit to be able to react more quickly. And I think that that's something that has been achieved through this agreement. And the opportunities for 6 jurisdictions to come together certainly will play greater into grant opportunities and looking at veteran homelessness and some of the other issues that are out there that HUD has grants for, that we should be able to bring all of this together and as one voice be able to ask for and receive assistance in many of these different programs that we've identified. So I'm encouraged, regardless of who moves forward with this, sitting on this JPA. This is an opportunity for our community to respond and to do it in a way that should have and will have a profound effect on our homeless conditions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So do we have staff's recommendation?
I'll move to improve staff's recommendation, and I would nominate that we continue the trend with Councilmember Buckland as primary and Councilmember Cardoza as alternate.
And I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, great. Thank you, Steve. All right, business from our city council. We will start with Councilmember Buckland.
Try to keep it rather short because summertime,
Yeah,
Many-
you said that before.
many of our committees don't meet, but the San Joaquin, I spoke previously on this, the San Joaquin Joint Power Authority on rail was looking at bringing initially a rail line into Marysville, Yuba City area, with continued service up through the Central Valley. That project, due to some of the funding and their plans, has decided to stop short. So right now they're looking at Natomas as being the furthest north that it would come, with extension into Yuba City and Marysville in the very near future. One of my meetings with the Sacramento Area Council on Governments, our Government Relations Committee meeting was canceled. But I did attend our Sutter Butte Flood Control meeting. You'll see in today's paper, other media outlets have reported on it. that the board, the Sabufka board itself, eliminated the Citizen Assessment District Advisory Committee. Again, I'm not going to elaborate on that. That was a vote of the board of directors, but certainly not to eliminate the citizen input, that the citizens are more than welcome to attend and should attend the Sutter Butte flood control meetings that are held on a regular basis right in this very room, and also the various public meetings that they have. And in fact, this Thursday, there is a public meeting on the levies, and that'll be being held over at Boyd Hall. And the public is certainly more than welcome to attend that meeting. That's at noon. I'm trying to remember I have meetings on Thursday. I won't be there, but there will be an opportunity to see even the current construction project that's going on the 3 miles of levee in Yuba City. And that's a massive undertaking that is going to happen in a very, very short period of time. So with that, that's all that I have to report on.
Okay, thank you. We have Councilmember Cardoza.
Okay, so we didn't have a meeting a couple weeks ago, so this is a month's worth of fun. So we'll start off with community events. Starting off, I attended the kickoff event for the walked-in all-timers. We had National Night Out a couple of weeks ago. It was a wonderful event. I was able to make it to all 10 community events. Saw the folks across the community. We had as much as great food, homemade tacos at one, and smoked ribs and pork and steak at others. It was a great place to be throughout the community. Attended the soft opening for Panera Bread. I went to a community connections forum in the community. It was on public health for our community. The Yuba Sutter Colusa United Way Awards ceremony. The Sutter Butte's Flood Control Agency media event on the levee with council members. First Thursday night on Pluma Street. The Yuba Sutter Fair kickoff party. And then we also, Councilman Harris and myself, we helped serve beverages for the fair, for the Friends, the fair committee. The first Doggy Bow Wow Bowl is for the Canine Association. Closed for Kids Shopping Day. Attended a retirement party for Joyce Pope, 17-year employee, nurse, retired from Sutter County Health Department. I toured the Yuba Sutter Transit complex with Keith Martin. Found out exactly what it takes to run a transit through our community. It's a major operation. I was invited to the Yuba City Unified School District Food Services Back to School program, and I helped pass out awards for the district staff. I was here last week at the Toastmasters workshop here at City Hall with city staff. I missed the swearing in for our new 2 dispatchers at the PD, but I was able to make it by and afterwards and congratulate them and welcome them to the city. For meetings, we had the Yuba Sutter Transit Authority meeting, DWR Lake Orville Spillway Community meeting, the Sutter Butte's Flood Control Agency board meeting, and we also had one also for the 2nd Street property owners, letting them know what we were going to do for the levee behind them. Gilsizer Drainage District meeting, and then for chamber events, we had ribbon cuttings for Panera Bread, and Great Cuts celebrated their 20-year anniversary, and the Business Connection Breakfast. And that's it for me. Thank you.
And we have Councilmember Harris.
I can't top that. You've ran all over the place. I did, we go to a lot of these functions throughout the community throughout the last month. They're all enjoyable. I think most notable, there's a couple things that I will specifically mention, is my role representing our city at Beale Air Force Base. They offer such a great contribution and enrich our community, and it's my privilege to be out there and represent all of us at the change of command ceremonies, which I've learned that it's not just one base commander doing the whole thing. They each have little sub-commands, and they really do it right when they switch that over, and it's very impressive. And met a lot of people and continue to do so. We look forward to continuing to do that out there as often as I'm able to. up on the levee, the groundbreaking ceremony for the new slurry wall, that was, I think, notable. We had so many folks show up all the way from, we had Congressman LaMalfa come out from Washington, D.C. to support our community for that little stretch of levee to improve that, protect all of us and all of our homes. And that was just really poignant that we were able to come together and, as an outward example to show what we can do, what we can accomplish in such a short amount of time. That's a big deal. And to do that and be a part of that, it's history in the making, and I was really happy to be there for that. Another thing, we have these very unfortunate events coming. Virginia is the last one, Charlottesville. People dying because people can't get along. And, it's very frustrating, it's very sad, very unnecessary. And I'm really happy to know that, we might have a little bit here and there in Yuba City. It hasn't manifested in something that's outright violence where people are getting killed, but it's happening all around us. And, it was good timing in that I had a member of the community come to me a few months ago, and we had a meeting with some staff. Darren Gale was there, and then Brad McIntyre. It was specifically for Sikh community and the way they're mistaken sometimes from Muslims, and not that it's okay to attack Muslims, but they have really misunderstand. They're such a vibrant part of our community, and so we wanted to expand that into a cultural thing, a cultural experience to where we can appreciate the strength, not a weakness, but a strength that all of our cultural, racial, everything, diversity, and differences, celebrate that as a community in Yuba City, and maybe even Yuba Sutter. And so you can be on the lookout for something coming up. We're not quite sure. We're still in the planning process of what we're going to do to come together, just have an opportunity, whether it be in the form of a resolution here or somewhere public. Food, music, you name it. Their options are all on the table right now. We're not sure how it's going to be, but we want to have something to where we can come together as a community and demonstrate excuse me, our support for each other and celebrate our differences, which actually the differences make us come together stronger as a good thing. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that because it's so frustrating. We see on the TV and the ignorance and the unnecessary hatred and everything out there. Sorry. That we need to do what we can to outwardly show our support for one another and show our lack of tolerance for intolerance. And it's important that we do that. So you can look out for that coming. And thank you in advance, Darren, for everything you've done on that.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Harris. Just to echo those words, many years ago, we used to have a cultural diversity event here, and it was just such a beautiful event where all of us would come together from all aspects, history, carrying us all from different avenues. And it was just a beautiful event to learn from one another and grow from one another and, in unity. And we feel that we've lost that. But we're very fortunate where Yuba City, we have such a huge diversity group of folks that to represent one another and do things in unity and loving each other and caring for each other and get rid of the hatred and the violence that we see everywhere. It's heartbreaking to listen to what's happening on the news every day. Somebody's getting shot, somebody's getting hurt. There are just constant battles out there, and we are in such a fortunate community with such diversity, and we should cherish that, and we should use it to our strength and bring in these events to show and empower ourselves and be an example to our kids. If we don't show our kids that we're a loving community and we support one another and we're going to be there, our kids are not going to know anything different but violence and hatred and not to support one another. And that's not okay. It's not okay. My child comes from a very diverse background, and it kills me to hear hatred with Muslims and Sikhs, and that's who we are. And we need to get a grasp of this. And like my dad used to say, regardless of what we do, when we bleed, we all bleed red. and it doesn't matter, and it hurts. It hurts our families, and it hurts our friends. So let's support one another. Let's bring our diversity, and let's empower each other by having that diversity with each other. So thank you, Sean, for sharing that. Aside from that, as far as it has been the summer months, I have not had too many meetings. We did have the DWR update community meeting a couple of weeks ago. And again, we had DWR here today to provide an update. We had National Night Out, which was, again, a great event. To go to the different neighborhoods and experience what we do have in our community. Aside from that, it has been just a really calm time. Well, calm as far as meetings, but a little bit for me on the extra. My daughter leaves for college tomorrow, and it's just been a roller coaster ride. So I will be officially on vacation starting tomorrow. So I will still be in reach. I will check emails and voice messages and so forth. But for the most part, I'm going to enjoy the next 10 days and get my daughter moved in and so forth after Dancing with Our Stars. So those of you who do not know about Dancing with Our Stars, that is this Friday and Saturday. And I am dancing on Saturday. So you are all invited. Tickets are still available. So have some fun, enjoy, and laugh. So aside from that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much. Unless there's anything else, this meeting is adjourned.